Is brought to you by Safety FM.
Though these words are all I give in your moments of triumph.
Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. I think we already know this, but let's talk about it anyways. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, we are broadcasting from our Safety FM studios on this lovely Thursday, October the 23rd of 2025, day 296 of the year, and only 69 days left to go. As we are hanging out here in these studios, going across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio big.
Oh, yes. You know, radio and sarcasm. How else would we be about anything if that was not the case? I mean, let's just be realistic. Anyways, how are you? How have you been? How's the last 24 hours or so been? Always a good time when you and I get to hang out and do our stuff. No doubt there as we are talking. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse as we are going through things. I mean, seriously, let's just be realistic. It's a great time to hang out and do some stuff and talk a little bit about this, talk a little bit about that, because that is what we do around here. It's an interesting time when you and I get to hang out and do this, because it's every day we get to talk about something different, slightly different, and so on. Even though our show consistently is safety in the news and safety, let's just not lie here about what it is. But we talk a little bit about everything that's going on. And some people always contacted me and said, why do you talk about more than just
safety stuff?
Well, the reason that we do that is because we want you to have other things to talk about, you know, known as that common bond. So if you have a good starter to start off with, it's a good place to be. So our show consists of safety in the news and safety. Easiest process on how we do our thing. If you want to interact with the show, simple process, callinradio.com. Once you get inside of there and you go to callinradio.com, video, audio, and text messaging are the options. Video, audio, and text messaging are the options of doing some stuff. And then once you get there, prompter over here on the screen lets me know what you want to do, and then I know how to proceed forward. It is the easiest way of us being able to interact with each other. Seriously. So once you do that, we're good to go. So I will bring in some people from Feature Story News for us to hang out with. We'll also talk to some Alan Edwards later in the hour about what he sees going on. And then I am giving you the plethora of information. Plethora. Because that's what we do. We give you a little bit of Toto, because that's what we have to do in regards to what we're talking about. So our show will be all over the place because that's how it is. It's just kind of what we're going to be doing. We're going to try some different things today because, you know, we always have to talk about some different stuff. We can't just keep it on one consistent basis, so we'll be all over the place. I mean, how else would you want to be? There's no other way to be inside of here as we are talking. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? Why don't we bring in our friends from Feature Story News and let us find out what exactly the hell is going on.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Stuart Smith. The International Court of Justice has announced that Israel can't use starvation as a method of warfare and must ensure the basic needs of the people in Gaza are met. The advisory opinion issued by the United Nations top court isn't legally binding and has been described by Israeli officials as shameful. William Denslow reports from the ICJ in The Hague.
As an occupying force, the ICJ says clearly that Israel must do more when it comes to providing the basic needs for people in the Palestinian enclave of Gaza. Also, the ICJ ruling on Israel's decision to ban working with the UN Palestinian agency UNRWA. The ICJ says that as the biggest facilitator of aid, then Israel has an obligation to continue working with this agency. Israel, for its part, says that that agency has been infiltrated by Hamas. The Israeli ambassador to the UN describes this decision by the ICJ as shameful.
Meanwhile, US Vice President J.D. Vance is wrapping his visit to Israel, having met Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Publicly, there's confidence the peace plan will hold, but discussions are reportedly more tense behind the scenes, as Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
J.D. Vance's presence here is being seen as an effort to keep the ceasefire on track, and when it comes to that ceasefire, he was very optimistic, very upbeat. When Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke to the media, he was also all smiles, optimism. However, behind the scenes, we're hearing reports that the talks were a little more difficult and a little more strained than they let on publicly. There are reports that Netanyahu told Vance that Israel views the idea that the Palestinian Authority could play any role in the future of Gaza as a red line for the Israeli government. But of course, according to the text of the deal, once the Palestinian Authority has reformed, they are meant to take over control of Gaza. And that clause in the deal, this idea that the Palestinian Authority would have a role in Gaza, was central to getting many of these Arab and Muslim governments on board with this deal.
The US has announced sanctions on Russia's two largest oil companies. President Donald Trump says discussions about peace don't go anywhere, despite what he thought were good conversations with Vladimir Putin. European Union leaders are in Brussels for a summit at which a new sanctions package on Moscow is also being signed off. Ollie Barrett has more.
The Americans certainly feel that targeting oil in this way can exert pressure that will harm the Russian economy to the extent that it can feed through into harming Russia's ability to finance its military machine as well. Certainly European leaders have been saying for some time, privately and publicly to Donald Trump, it's not what Vladimir Putin says on the phone, it's what Moscow does afterwards.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more detail today at the prison sentence imposed on former French President Nicolas Sarkozy. Earlier this week, he started serving a 5-year jail term at a pretty notorious prison in the south of Paris. Aged 70, he becomes the first French leader jailed since the Second World War, after being convicted of conspiring to fund his election campaign with money provided by then Libyan leader Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Sarkozy was welcomed to the Élysée Palace by President Macron only last week in an apparent show of solidarity that suggests his jailing is creating tensions between the judiciary and the French political elite. Reporter Catherine Norris-Trent is with France 24.
Well, that's what Nicolas Sarkozy wants to make it about. And he's really called into question the integrity of the French judicial system. And the fact that he was invited by President Macron to the Élysée Palace on Friday is really calling into question, are the politicians clubbing together and trying to blame the judicial system, which some people say is a very, very slippery slope. So you've had judges, trade unions coming forward and saying, you've got to watch out for this because let's not make this political. They're insisting that this is actually based on the rule of law, something that Nicolas Sarkozy himself was very strict about when he was in office.
Mr. Sarkozy has launched an appeal of his sentence, and some legal observers believe he may not spend very much time behind bars, but he is behind them for now. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, the US will sanction Russia's two largest oil companies, with President Trump saying discussions about peace don't go anywhere, despite what he thought were good conversations with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The United Nations top court has found Israel can't use starvation as a method of war and must ensure the basic needs of the people in Gaza are met, though its opinion is not legally binding. And at least 40 migrants have died off the North African coast after their boat sank. That's the latest feature story news. Stuart Smith reporting.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, safety transmission. The final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' best life insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. Let's get moving and grooving as we are 15 minutes past the top of the hour doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. So there you go. So let's start talking because I think I got some stuff that you might care about. And then I have some stuff that you might not care about. And that's kind of how it goes. So let's get into it. I got two that I want to start off with right away. The Mark Sanchez story that we need to be following up on that we've been talking about over, I think, the last couple of weeks. Mark Sanchez's lawyers say that the former NFL player is still recovering from his stab wounds. His attorney appeared in court on Sanchez's behalf on Wednesday. A trial date for the case has been set for December the 11th, at which point Sanchez will be required to appear. This is according to the New York Post. Then I'm going to give you another one, a follow-up for a rep of the National Network of the End of Domestic Violence called Kristen Bell's anniversary tribute, telling to Page 6, there's nothing funny about domestic violence, Joes, especially during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We are all aware of the responsibilities to support victims and survivors. That's what has been said. Bell faced mounting criticism over anniversary post of the husband, Dax Shepard. She has yet to publicly address the backlash. Words of advice. So there you go. Put it in a card next time. So there you go. Some people losing it. So here we go. Let's do this.
The battle of the sexes is on.
A fight between a man and a woman. It's a type of duel.
Battle of the sexes, men and women are ready to rumble about the differences between the genders.
A man and a woman might be forced to fight like this because of any number of disputes.
So there you go. Battle of the sexes, I guess, was what's going on today. Glad somebody finally told me about what the hell's going on inside of this world, because we always have to do some stuff in that particular regards. So let's start talking right away about some things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is kind of what we do around here. So where do you want to start? Because there's so many things to talk about, so little time to do so. I want to start, I guess, talking relatively quick, if one does not mind, about some of the stuff that one was looking at in regards of things that were happening over the last 24 hours. So let's do this. Let's talk about some odd stories. Las Vegas resident wins $1 million at the Wheel of Fortune slot game. A lucky Las Vegas local just turned $3 into $1 million on Sunset Station Hotel and Casino in Henderson, Nevada. The unidentified winner hit the $1,048,675.87 jackpot on IGT Wheel of Fortune Cash Link Big Money slot machine on Friday. The casino celebrated on Instagram, posting a photo of a winning machine with the grand prize flashing on top. According to IGT, the Wheel of Fortune machines have paid out more than $3.5 billion in jackpots over the years, with someone winning a $100,000 payout roughly every 3 days. Sunset Station noted that the player's $1 million win came from a $3 spin, making the moment even more extraordinary. The Wheel of Fortune official Instagram account congratulated the player, calling it an incredible jackpot. So there you go. There you go. Okay, so apparently the story that is never going to disappear, we are going to continue talking about. When Amazon Web Services, AWS, went down on Monday, it didn't just knock out Reddit and Roblox. It also turned some people's smart beds into sleeping infernos. Owners of the high-end 8 Sleep Pod 5 Ultra beds, a cool $5,049 a pop, reported that their mattresses overheated and stuck up in an upright position, leaving users roasting like a rotisserie chicken while propped up like a hospital patient. 8 Sleep CEO Matteo Franceschi apologized on X, admitting that AWS outage disrupted sleep and promising to make the beds outage-proof going forward. By 10 p.m. on Monday, the company said that all mattresses were back to normal, though not before the social media lit up on jokes about the technology turning bedtime into a full-blown disaster. Take a listen to some of these. Nothing says a hot sleeper like the beds turning you into a George Foreman grill. Also, Alexa, stop cooking me alive. Maybe that was a good thing to tell the thing. Also, forget about night sweats. It's full-out rotisserie mode. Sleep number, more like a heat number 911. And then when you spend $5,000 on a bed and then it decides to turn it into sauna mode, that could be an issue. And also, these folks didn't sleep on a cloud. They slept on the sun, because there's just no other way on describing some of the stuff that was going on that day.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying.
He is trying to be entertaining.
Rated R Safety Show.
Why do I have to be an idiot? We're just talking, man. I mean, there's nothing else to do. When you press the wrong button, try to talk, it just doesn't work out too well. So there you go. Anyways, what else do we got? Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced a new plan to rid the Everglades of Burmese pythons by literally turning them into handbags, belts, and shoes. The state has teamed up with Inversa, a company that transforms invasive species into luxury leather goods. Funded by a $2 million from the state budget, the initiative was dramatically increased by python removal, with over 1,000 snakes removed this summer alone, more than triple the previous year's total. DeSantis called the effort a win-win. Here we go.
A win-win.
Florida ecosystem while creating a high-end fashion. The company's motto, something positive from something negative. In other words, the swamp nightmare just became the next season accessory. Florida, where snakes are out of office and into the closet. What else? Nothing says eco-friendly like a purse that used to eat alligators. Also, finally, a handbag that hisses when you unzip it. Python leather. Because Florida fashion needs to bite back. Forget Gucci. This is Gator adjacent. Somewhere in the Everglades, a python just realized that it's trending in Vogue. Also talk about shedding your old look. And then Mother Nature called. She wants her accessory back. And that's not a belt. That's Carl. He used to live near Naples, so there you go. There's going to be some things for people to talk about as we are looking around inside of those things. No doubt about that. So what else do we got? Should we go into some main news stories? Let's do some important stuff.
Some of the stuff that people want to focus on.
We should probably do some of those. So take a listen to this. Tucker Carlson can't control his fury as MAGA student resurrects the CIA conspiracy theory about his father. Tucker Carlson lost his cool during a Turning Point USA event in Indiana University when MAGA college student claimed that his father, Richard Carlson, worked for the CIA. The students' questions started as a critique of the U.S. foreign policy under both Biden and President Trump, but then took a sharp turn when he dropped, "Your dad was in the CIA," sparking the visible anger from Tucker. Carlson shot back, "Leave my father out of it. I'm going to have to kick your ass," which I can do. By the way, if you bring him up again, he tried to diffuse the tension with humor, but Sting lingered as he added, "He was a wonderful man, whatever he did for a living. Don't test me, son." Richard Carlson, as a respected journalist who ran Voice of America during the Cold War, passed away earlier this year at the age of 84, while Tucker has acknowledged that his father once worked in conjunction with the CIA. There is no evidence that he ever was employed by the agency. Why would this get you so upset and rattled up? That might be the other question for one to ask.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon pulled a 23-hour talking marathon on the Senate floor starting on Tuesday night and wrapped up yesterday afternoon. His mission? To sound the alarm about what he calls the President Trump grave treats to the American democracy. Jeff accused the president of undermining free speech, weaponizing the Justice Department, and using fear of protests in Portland to justify a power grab. He painted the situation as the most perilous since the Civil War and used the speech to rally Democratic resistance while government shutdown dragged in to week 4. But critics fired back, saying that Jeff all-nighter forced unpaid staffers to work overtime just so that he could make headlines. Republican Senator John Barrasso quipped that Democrats were patting themselves on the back for shutting down the government. Still, Jeff made the Senate history with one of the longest speeches ever recorded. Only Senator Cory Booker, 25-hour filibuster earlier this year. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. So 23 hours of Jeff Merkley, that's not a speech. That's a hostage situation. Also, he spoke so long that the Senate chairs filled for workers' comp. Somewhere around hour 19, even his Fitbit called 911. So you know that it's a bad when your stenographer starts writing with Z's. I mean, think about that. And then 23 hours on Trump criticism, CNN called it Wednesday. And then someone should be given lozenges in a hobby. So I'm just saying, because, you know, if I go to a speech and it's like longer than an hour, I start getting antsy. So I can't even fathom what a 23-hour speech would even come close to sounding like. So there you go. And let's start off that I don't want to know what it sounds like. So let's not get too crazy and go down that path, because, you know, what the hell's going on there? Okay, so let's talk about this, because there's some stuff going on. I've been looking at some surveys, because we're so close to Halloween. You know, we are talking next week. We're talking a week from tomorrow, just in case you're not aware, about what are the number one candies in America. And according to DoorDash, released a list of Americans' top Halloween candies. So here's what you should be handing out or giving out at work, just in case, because you never know. So try this one. So here you go. At number 10 is Airheads. At number 9 was Kit Kats. Number 8, Twix. Number 7, Sour Patch Kids. At number 6, Nerds. The candy, just in case. At number 5, Skittles. At number 4, Snickers. At number 3, Hershey's Chocolate Bar. And number 2 is M&M. And the number 1 candy, according to DoorDash, that people want handed out during Halloween is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. So there you go. Did you know that? I did not know that. So something interesting to think about. Here's another one. Did you know about this? Are you familiar with super strong Sam Adams beer? That it's illegal in 15 states? Yeah, let's try that. You heard me correctly. It is illegal in 15 states. Boston Beer Company has pushed the legendary brew Samuel Adams Utopias into the new heights. This year, the edition clocks in at a massive 30% alcohol by volume, making it the strongest version ever. The ultra-luxury beer aged in barrels that once held Irish whiskey, part Scotch flavors caramelized with oak, dried fruit, smoke, and citrus. The cost about $240 a bottle. The bad news, it's illegal in 15 states, including North Carolina, Utah, and Georgia, because it's stronger than some liquors. Brewer Jim Koch calls the 30% milestone a symbol of the brand's relentless pursuit to craft without compromise. Not just the by numbers game. Utopias isn't carbonated, drinks more like a fine cognac than a beer, and it comes handcrafted Cooper kettle-shaped bottle and a collectible more than the casual six-pack for serious drinkers only, or as some might say, the beer that makes whiskey blush. I just don't know what other way to look at it. So this beer isn't just strong. It can probably start your car. That's going to be one thing to think about. And also a 30% alcohol by volume. One sip is your fluent Old English. It's so strong that your liver sent a friend request to AA. Also, $240 a bottle, as Sam Adams calls it, an investment to blurry memories. And at age 30 years, which is also how long it feels, how long you'll feel it is the next morning. Think about that. And finally, a beer that can double down as a hand sanitizer in a pinch. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about. Let me give you two more real quick. Walmart's Thanksgiving meal can feed 10 people for about $10. Now, Walmart dropped the lowest price Thanksgiving meal yet, just under $4 a person. The retail giant's 2025 holiday meal deal for 10 people for $39.93, featuring more than 20 classic items, including a 13.5-pound Butterball turkey priced at 97 cents per pound. The major drop from last year's $7 a person price tag. Let's see. Since Walmart began the promotion in 2022, customers can order the full meal online in stores via Walmart app through December the 25th. So this is more than just Thanksgiving then, with pickup and delivery options, including free express delivery for first-time users. What's included in the Walmart Thanksgiving meal deal? Butterball turkey for 13.5 pounds, Kinder fried onions, Campbell cream mushroom soup, stovetop stuffing twin pack, great value dinner rolls, fresh russet potatoes, fresh cranberries, fresh value baby carrots, great value corn, great value green beans, great value artisan macaroni and cheese, great value brown gravy mix, great value pie crust, great value evaporated milk, and great value 100 puree pumpkin. So there you go. If you're looking to go out on, on an inexpensive meal deal, that definitely seems the way to go. Let me give you one more. Smart shoppers are buzzing about Aisles, a smartphone app that gives you cash back on groceries that they've already bought. No coupon or loyalty card needed. Launched in 2021, Aisles partners with major retailers like Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, Kroger's, Key Foods, and even 7-Eleven, offering deals that range to buy one, get one free to full refunds on select items. The app mainly highlights independent brands, sparkling drinks, Rousey nut butter dates, chili crunch roll from Mapufco, and rather store brands like Trader Joe's. So here's how it works. You download the app only on your phone, not on any kind of tablet. Browse available deals from your favorite store, buy the featured items, and keep the receipts. Text a photo to the receipts, the Aisle automated chat, and get cash back via Venmo in 24 to 72 hours. The app rewards curiosity. It's perfect for trying new brands without the risk of wasting money. The only catch, offers can vary by store, and frequent users may see deal limits shift over time. So there's some stuff to think about as we are talking. So there you go. Some stuff to go through. Anyways, 33 minutes past top of the hour, and let's start talking about some of the stuff that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse as we get into what we call our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Sometimes some things happen in life that cause you to pivot. You kind of change out the things that you had planned and the things that you had working. So let's start talking real quick, because this has kind of been an interesting week. And I'm not going to sugarcoat
you
in regards to the information that I'm about to provide to you. So as you are aware, because we haven't spoken about it enough, there was a server that went down earlier in the week, which caused us to have some problems on Monday during hour number 1, but not hour 2 and 3 of what we have going on. Now, as I have told you in the past, as we do this show, we have all kinds of things that are going on in the background that you are not aware of. But, we have to put the show together. We have to write everything out and get everything ready to go. Similar to some of the stuff that you do at work, you have policies and you have procedures, you have SOPs, standard operating platforms, that you kind of align on how you're going to do everything. So some of the people that we interact with are not inside of this room, this studio, not inside of the general area of the complex on where we're located. They might be in other parts of the country. And some of our even members are in different parts of the country, similar to any work environment. So with our systems and servers going down on Monday, because that's what happened with a lot of things, we had some issues on what was going on. And of course, it caused that
panic moment.
So we all were freaking out about what was going on and how we were going to be able to handle the show. So with some of the people that we interact with, we were incommunicado, which I'm pretty sure is the exact same thing that occurs with you. So you might be incommunicado with sometimes with things going on with work. Well, we were definitely incommunicado with some of the things that were going on. So this caused us to look at other redundancies inside of our system, things that we needed. So as we started taking a look at what we were having problems with, we said, hey, we need to have more redundancies in regards of our staff writers, in regards of what we have going on. And listen, these people that are in the background doing the stuff here put in a shitload of work to get us to where we need to be. No doubt about that. And here's the funny part. Even though this right here is what we would call a small operation compared to some of these giant companies, this is the stuff that happens in workplaces daily. And we're talking about from the standpoint as it follows. You have things that are going on that you are not aware that they are not redundant because they have not failed yet. Here's what we tend to forget. It's not if it failed, the question is going to become, when is it going to fail? Because all of our systems at some point will fail. I will tell you, I have had phones. I will tell you that, in my opinion, one of the best phone services I've ever had back in the day was Verizon. And I can remember going through a 5-year spout of using Verizon, traveling the country. And this was when Nextel still existed, so let's kind of make sure that we're clear here. CDMA and whatever the other cell network was called at the time that made the phones incompatible with each other if we were trying to jump companies. I remember traveling the country over a 5-year stint, back and forth, going home, and my calls only dropping 3 times. 3 times over a 5-year period. And there were precise places that I was at that I said, okay, this makes sense on why it happened. But it was technology that was dependent, that people never thought that it failed. Because if you remember the old Verizon commercials, it was, can you hear me now? It was kind of that common process thing. How can you hear me now? That would be the thing. So as you went through that, I never expected it to fail until it did. Now, I look at this and go, how many systems inside of your organization have redundancies available if things were to fail? There was a cluster F that happened on Monday, let's not lie, with systems across the board. I have minimal complaints in regards of what happened. Things did happen. And I look at it from the standpoint of, at least I wasn't a rotisserie chicken in my bed. But I look at it from the standpoint, too, of what redundant systems do you have that you've tested, that you are aware that if everything else was to fail, these things would still work. And remember, we spoke earlier this week about single point failure systems, but we also have to take a look at it from the standpoint of, when was the last time that you checked the redundancies to verify that they worked? Because it's not just about doing stuff, it's about verifying those safeguards, those guardrails, to make sure that if things do go awry, you're ready to go. Worst case scenario, keeping that in mind.
Oops, what did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplace.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Jay Allen in the morning on radio.
Okay, there you go. We are 45 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out doing our shindig. No doubt there. Yep, you are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show. And this right here that you're taking a listen to is The Old North. Song's called Field and Forest. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. If you want to give it a little streamer action, you're more than welcome to by using one of those services. No doubt there. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is what happens. Thank you to the Old North for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Let's get into some other stuff. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and the people at To Write Love on Our Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. Things can get better. Find out more information. All you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com to Write Love on Her Arms. Once you get there, you're going to find information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com to Write Love on Her Arms. Listen, it could possibly change the way that you look at stuff just by going to that website. Before I forget, let me give you some information real quick about the numbers. The Dow fell 334 points to close at 46,590 on Wednesday. The S&P fell 35 points to close at 6,699, and the NASDAQ fell 213 points to close at 22,740. West Texas Intermediate closed at $59 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $63 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.06 on Wednesday, and Bitcoin fell on the day, right under $108,000 or so. Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $680 million jackpot, or a $318.2 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. No doubt about that. So take a listen to this, because I think that this one's interesting. A wardrobe poll found that most men still own shirts from over a decade ago. Some even refuse to throw away shirts with holes because they still got life left. If it fits, it's good. It doesn't. If it doesn't, it's nostalgic. Ladies, does your guy still have clothes from over 10 years ago? What clothing items do you want him to ditch? That's something to think about. Or guys, I don't know why you throw away shirts or not. So let me talk about this. It's kind of funny because I was having a conversation a couple days ago. I remember a few years back, well, many years ago at this point, there was a company called Steve & Barry's that I think everything was like under $7, under $8. And I remember buying a crap load of their shirts. And the store ended up going out of business at some point. I still have those shirts. And I still use them from time to time, which I still think it's amazing that I still have shirts that I still use from that time in my life. Now, I will tell you this, and this is definitely not a sponsored thing that I'm about to tell you here. I recently found a shirt company over the last year that's called Underdog shirts. And they have the most interesting value proposition that one could find, where if you buy a shirt from them, it has a lifetime warranty, meaning that if you don't like the fit, if something goes wrong with the shirt, you can just exchange it. Now, I will tell you, shirt's not cheap, but I look at it from the standpoint of this. If it's a lifetime warranty on the shirt and you can exchange it if something goes wrong with it, well, shit, I'll just buy that shirt and just keep on getting more and more of them and have them for the rest of my life and not buy any other clothes. So now I just live in a uniform for the most part, if you start thinking about it. So there you go. If you think that you're stuck with clothes from college, imagine starting using this shirt brand. You're never going anywhere else. That's what it sounds like to me. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we bring something a little bit happier into our life, and let's bring some John Smalls our way and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Harry. Jenny Allen said, "God is concerned not only with the posture of our hearts, but also with the people on each of our arms. In terms of fulfilling our mission in this life, we can't do anything worthwhile alone." I love this. We have one life to live. It matters what we do with it. It also matters who we do that with. I've tried to give back to my community for as far back as I can remember. From when I was a youth representative helping in my hometown, as I've created festivals and events as an adult, I've never done it alone. I've always been blessed to have amazing volunteers and sponsors who've helped me with everything, every step of the way.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
A large-scale drone and missile attack struck the capital of Ukraine overnight, resulting in at least 5 fatalities.
Russian forces targeted several areas of Kyiv, intensifying concerns about civilian safety as rescue operations continue. The assault comes days after the United States rejected Ukraine's request for additional missile defense support. Ukrainian authorities have urged residents to remain in shelters, while international leaders have condemned the renewed aggression. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
A fragile ceasefire has taken hold between Pakistan and Afghanistan after recent negotiations in Doha.
Officials from both countries have agreed to halt hostilities and initiate talks aimed at reducing tensions along their shared border. The ceasefire follows days of violent clashes that left dozens dead and disrupted commerce in the region. Observers say the truce is an important step, but warn that long-term peace will require further dialogue and trust-building measures. Benjamin Wright reporting.
The federal government shutdown in the United States has entered its 23rd day, now officially the second longest shutdown in the nation's history.
Lawmakers remain at a stalemate with no agreement in sight to reopen government operations. Thousands of federal employees are missing paychecks, and essential court services are starting to face significant funding gaps. The Senate is scheduled to vote again on a temporary funding bill, but previous attempts have failed. Liam White reporting.
President Donald Trump has demanded the Justice Department pay roughly $230 million in compensation compensation related to investigations he faced during the previous administration and his first term.
Administration officials confirmed the president's request late Tuesday. This demand comes as the Justice Department reviews expenditures from past investigations, igniting debate within Congress. Discussions are ongoing, and lawmakers remain divided on approving any compensation. No resolution is expected until the government shutdown is resolved. Lawrence Keller reporting.
The Pentagon has tightened protocols around direct communication with members of Congress.
New internal guidelines restrict how military officials can interact with lawmakers about defense matters. The changes were implemented following recent tensions over classified information leaks. Critics claim the new rules could hinder congressional oversight of military actions. Pentagon officials maintain that the updated procedures are necessary to safeguard national security interests. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Customs and Border Protection reports processing nearly 24 million international parcels previously eligible for duty-free exemption following recent policy changes.
The removal of the de minimis exemption means most incoming goods now face standard import fees. The policy shift has prompted complaints from importers and small business groups. Officials argue the change will better protect domestic industries from unfair competition. Analysis of the new system's economic impact is expected by year's end. Jessica Oakley reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
With streams so crisp that you can feel the sarcasm in your ear holes. Radio Big.
Why did this show has to be sarcasm? What are you talking about here? I mean, I don't get it. I thought we were trying to keep it as realistic as possible in regards to what was going on. Anyways, let's talk about today in history, because that is what we need to do. Back on this date in 1941, Walt Disney's Dumbo gets premiered. Yeah, that's back in 1941. Also in 1932, Fred Allen, no relation. The show premieres on the radio back in 1932. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Ang Lee turned 71. Dwight Yoakam turned 69. Weird Al Yankovic turned 66. Ryan Reynolds turns 49 today. And Jessica Stroop, yeah, she turns 39 today. So there you go. That's some birthdays for you if you're looking at some of that stuff. If you need a weird fact of the day today, here you go. A single strand of spaghetti is called spaghetto, which sounds like a rejected mobster nickname. So there you go. Some things to, some things to think about as we are talking, no doubt about there. What else do I got for you? Let's see. Do you need some words of wisdom? Well, mistakes are proof that you're trying. I think that that's one thing to think about, because what else would you be doing? I mean, no doubt about that. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. I'll be hanging out over there doing our weird stuff because there's nothing else to do. We'll be talking about the world of music, the world of entertainment, and that's kind of what we go and do over there. So just keep that in mind as we are talking. What else do we got? What else do we got? Should I tell you that today is National Boston Cream Pie Day? Back in 1856, the Boston Parker House of Hotels in Armenia, French chef M. Zancian created a pudding and a cake combination which compromises 2 layers of sponge cake filled with vanilla-flavored custard or cream pastry. The cake is then topped with chocolate glaze, such a ganche, or sometimes powdered sugar with a cherry. In 1996, Massachusetts declared a Boston cream pie their official dessert. So I guess that's one way to look at it if you are talking about it. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum it up. Thank you for hanging out with me. I always love the time that we get to spend together. No doubt about that. So there you go. Always a good time. Thank you for hanging out. And like I said, Sheldon Primus will be coming in doing the stuff of safety consulting if you decide not to go with me. And if I didn't say it, I'm sorry. Anyways, that's it. That's all of it. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to definitely do what we do around here. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye-zo. Yeah, goodbye-zo. What else am I going to say?
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
Though these words are all I give,